DiJonai Carrington called her shot, circled the date, and warned the entire league it was coming. Instead, it blew up in her face in the most humiliating way possible. The foul that started the entire meltdown. Let's rewind to where this all kicked off. Chicago Sky guard DiJonai Carrington chases down Sophie Cunningham on a clean fast break, and instead of contesting the layup, she sweeps her arm directly across Cunningham's face and neck, sending her crashing to the floor. Officials review it and upgrade it to a flagrant 2. Automatic ejection, no debate. Carrington heads to the locker room and immediately posts white privilege, tagging the Indiana Fever directly, appearing to suggest the ejection call itself was racially motivated. The backlash is instant and brutal. Fans, analysts, and even former NFL players pile on, frustrated that instead of owning the moment, Carrington seemed to be deflecting responsibility entirely. Then a few days later at her next press conference, she gets asked directly about the post and gives a response that clears up almost nothing, saying she never claimed the assessment of the foul itself was white privilege, without ever explaining what she actually meant. That kind of non-answer only threw more gasoline on a fire that was already burning out of control. Not everyone piled on right away either. Some reporters covering the Sky pointed out that Carrington has always played with an edge, and that her physical style has been part of her identity throughout her entire career, long before this specific stretch of headlines. But even those defenders admitted the timing of everything. The ejection, the vague clarification, and the arena incident happening within the same handful of days made it nearly impossible for the story to cool off naturally. But this was only the beginning of Carrington's wild stretch, because things were about to get a whole lot messier. The arena chaos that had everyone talking. Just days after the ejection, Carrington's turbulent week continues in a completely different way. During a road game against the Golden State Valkyries, she has a courtside fan removed from the arena after approaching a referee and pointing him out mid-game. Security escorts the man away, but after officials review the complaint, they call it unfounded and the fan is actually let back into his seat. That same night, Carrington makes contact above the shoulders with 2 different Valkyries players. First, she pokes Cecilia Zandalasini in the eye while reaching for the ball, a move that looks eerily similar to the eye poke she landed on Carrington and Clark back in the 2024 playoffs. Then later in the game, she catches Tiffany Hayes in the mouth with an errant hand while contesting a layup. On top of all that, she picks up a technical foul for arguing with an official. One reporter went as far as calling her conduct that night dishonest, and fans online started calling it her signature move at this point. That's 3 separate flashpoints in a single game, on top of the ejection just days earlier. Local broadcasters covering the Valkyries game seemed genuinely stunned watching it unfold in real time, noting that a player already under a national microscope seemed to be walking right back into more controversy instead of playing it safe. And if that wasn't enough chaos for one stretch, Carrington then did something that made the entire situation somehow worse. The warning she posted that came back to haunt her. Right after her ejection, buried among her other social media posts, Carrington dropped something that fans didn't fully clock at first. A simple message reading 8:23. It was a reference to the next scheduled matchup between the Sky and the Fever, and it read like a warning that she was circling the date for payback when the 2 teams met again. Fans marked their calendars too. When August 23rd finally rolled around, the entire basketball world was watching to see if Carrington would back up the hype. Instead, it turned into one of the most embarrassing nights of her season. Carrington and Clark, who Carrington guarded for large stretches of the game, put on an absolute clinic, scoring 37 points and dishing out 10 assists while draining 8 3-pointers. The Fever blew the Sky out by 23 points, winning 113-90. Carrington herself had a night to forget, finishing with just 7 points on 3 of 11 shooting, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and a -5 in the box score. Social media had a field day almost instantly, with fans pointing out the wild coincidence that Clark hit exactly 8 threes and the final margin was exactly 23 points, joking that Carrington's own warning had predicted her own demolition without her even realizing it. Making matters even worse, the loss officially eliminated the Sky from playoff contention entirely. So a foul that started as one bad play in early August somehow spiraled into an entire month of chaos. But is there something deeper connecting all of it? Why this keeps happening to Carrington? Here's the piece that puts everything into perspective. Carrington and Clark have a rivalry that goes back years, all the way to Carrington's time with the Connecticut Sun, long before either of them ever set foot in this new chapter of their careers. Time and time again, Carrington has been the one bringing the intensity and the trash talk, while Clark has consistently been the one getting the last laugh on the scoreboard. It's not just basketball drama either. Carrington has also found herself at the center of personal headlines away from the court, including cryptic social media posts revisiting old accusations tied to a previous relationship, which only added more noise to an already chaotic stretch for her public image. Between the ejection, the fan incident, the eye poke controversy, the mouth hit, the failed revenge game, and the personal drama swirling in the background, it paints a picture of a player whose emotions have been running the show lately, often at the worst possible moments. Analysts have started connecting the dots too, comparing the dynamic to old rivalries, where one player brings all the noise and attention, while the other simply lets their play on the court do the talking. Carrington is undeniably a talented, competitive player, but this stretch has made it clear that when it comes to backing up her words against Clark specifically, the results just haven't followed the hype. One popular Clark fan account even resurfaced Carrington's own 8:23 post the morning after the blowout, pointing out with a laugh that the numbers had lined up perfectly, just not in the way Carrington had intended when she first typed them out. So with the regular season winding down and the Sky already eliminated from the playoff picture, what does the rest of this story look like? What comes next for Carrington? With Chicago's playoff hopes officially over, the rest of the season now becomes about something different for Carrington, repairing a reputation that's taken hit after hit in just a matter of weeks. The flagrant foul, the vague social media response, the fan removal controversy, the extra contact fouls, and the humiliating blowout on her own called shot date have combined into one of the roughest stretches of her career on and off the court. Meanwhile, the Fever have used all of this as fuel, climbing to a 25-14 record and locking up their spot in the playoffs, while Clark continues to deliver highlight reel performances every time these two teams meet. The contrast between the two storylines could not be sharper right now. One team rising with confidence, the other dealing with a guard whose off-court headlines have overshadowed her play. Whether Carrington uses this as motivation to rewrite the narrative or the chaos continues into next season remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, every time she circles a date on the calendar from here on out, the entire league is going to be watching even closer than before. There's also a bigger question hanging over the Sky organization as a whole. With Carrington already dealing with a foot injury earlier in the season that limited her minutes, and now a month defined more by controversy than production, some analysts are already wondering how much patience the front office will have if this pattern continues into next year. For a team already eliminated from the postseason, the final stretch of games has quietly turned into an audition for Carrington, not just against opponents, but for her own long-term standing within the organization. So that's the shocking chain of events behind DiJonai Carrington's meltdown: a violent ejection, a controversial social post, a bizarre fan incident, and a revenge game that blew up spectacularly in her face. Do you think Carrington can turn this around, or is this rivalry with Clark simply one she can't win? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next update.